The stone that was rolled before Christ's tomb might appropriately be called the philosopher's stone because its removal gave not only the Pharisees but now, for 1,800 years, the philosophers so much to think about. Do it or don't do it, you will regret both. Language has time as its element. All other media have space as their element. I am so fed up and joyless that not only have I nothing to fill my soul, I cannot even conceive of anything that could possibly satisfy it. Alas, not even the bliss of heaven. For he who loves God without faith reflects on himself, while the person who loves God in faith reflects on God. Shows itself in the notion that what may be objectively true may in the mouth of certain people become false. Who am I? How did I come into the world? Why was I not consulted? Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. There are men who are wanting in the comparative. They as a rule are the most interesting. Once you label me, you negate me. Love believes all things and yet is never deceived. Riches and abundance come hypocritically clad in sheep's clothing, pretending to be security against anxieties, and they become then the object of anxiety. They secure a man against anxieties just about as well as the wolf that is put to tending the sheep. I have never fought in such a way as to say I am the true Christian. Others are not Christians. But the life of freedom requires a beginning, and here a beginning is a resolution, and the resolution has its work and its pain, thus the beginning has its difficulty. What if everything in the world were a misunderstanding? What if laughter were really tears? It is very dangerous to go into eternity with possibilities which one has oneself prevented from becoming realities. A possibility is a hint from God. One must follow it. Only when it is a duty to love, only then is love eternally and happily secured against despair. There is not a single human being who does not despair at least a little, in whose innermost being there does not dwell an uneasiness, an unquiet, a discordance, an anxiety in the face of an unknown something. Boredom rests upon the nothingness that winds its way through existence, its giddiness, like that which comes from gazing down into an infinite abyss, is infinite. For love is exultant when it unites equals, but it is triumphant when it makes that which was unequal equal in love. The most common form of despair is not being who you are. That in which all human life is unified is passion, and faith is a passion. My scholarly expectation is then that I may succeed in becoming clever in philosophy in spite of my stupidity. To cheat oneself out of love is the most terrible deception. It is an eternal loss for which there is no reparation, either in time or in eternity. If a man cannot forget, he will never amount to much. It is a frightful satire and an epigram on the modern age that the only use it knows for solitude is to make it a punishment, a jail sentence. Deepest within every person there is none the less an anxiety about being alone in the world, forgotten by God, overlooked among the millions and millions in this enormous household. In actuality, no one ever sank so deep that he could not sink deeper, and there may be one or many who sank deeper. So it is always possible to be happy and grateful that things are not worse. Only the eternal is always appropriate and always present, is always true. Only the eternal applies to each human being, whatever his age may be. Christendom has done away with Christianity without being quite aware of it. I believe, the courage to doubt everything. I believe, the courage to fight against everything. But I do not have the courage to acknowledge anything, the courage to possess, to own anything. Now, with God's help, I shall become myself. Spirit is the third, yet in such a way that one can speak of a synthesis only when the spirit is posited. Deep within every man there lies the dread of being alone in the world, forgotten by God, overlooked among the tremendous household of millions and millions. Purity of heart is to will one thing. A man who as a physical being is always turned toward the outside, thinking that his happiness lies outside him, finally turns inward and discovers that the source is within him. This is the miracle of life, that each person who heeds him or herself knows what no scientist can ever know, who he or she is. That is the road we all have to take, over the bridge of sight into eternity. The Bible is God's love letter to us. Christianity demands the crucifixion of the intellect. To love another person is to help them love God. The minority is always stronger than the majority, because the minority is generally formed by those who really have an opinion. It occurs to me that artists go forward by going backward, something which I have nothing against intrinsically when it is a reproduced retreat, as is the case with the better artists. Absolute passion cannot be understood by a third party. The truth is a trap. You cannot get it without it getting you. You cannot get the truth by capturing it, only by its capturing you. About as genuine as tea made from a bit of paper which once lay in a drawer beside another piece of paper which had been used to wrap up a few tea leaves, from which tea had already been made 3 times. Men are not on such intimate terms with the sublime that they really can believe in it. Nothing is as heady as the wine of possibility. Most people live dejectedly in worldly joys or sorrows. They sit on the sidelines and do not join the dance. Concepts, like individuals, have their histories and are just as incapable of withstanding the ravages of time as are individuals. But in and through all this they retain a kind of homesickness for the scenes of their childhood. Life is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be experienced. A man prayed, and at first he thought that prayer was talking. But he became more and more quiet until in the end he realized prayer is listening. It seems to be my destiny to discourse on truth, insofar as I discover it in such a way that all possible authority is simultaneously demolished. Faith is the highest passion in a man. Genius, like a thunderstorm, comes up against the wind. When the child must be weaned, the mother too is not without sorrow at the thought that she and the child are separated more and more, that the child which first lay under her heart and later reposed upon her breast will be so near to her no more.